Hopefully by now, you will have had a chance to see the Cardfight Vanguard overdress first episode. It's been about a week since that original premiere happened, and the actual episode will air pretty soon, if not already. I don't know when this is actually going up, but consider this like the spoiler warning. Do not watch this if you haven't seen the first episode. We're going to be talking about stuff, basically. Mainly theories and things, so take this video with a grain of salt. I'm probably going to be very wrong about a lot, but I wanted to make another overdress video, but of course there's no new episode yet. But I've also got a lot that I want to talk about that I didn't cover in that first episode review. If you want to see my more general thoughts about the anime, I have that first episode review and everything. And also, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more Vanguard overdress stuff. I'm not good at saying that kind of thing, but I probably should. I'm planning on making a lot of overdress videos over the coming few weeks and so on and so forth, and I really enjoy this anime so far and want to talk about it more, so be sure to subscribe if you want to see that kind of thing. So let's jump into it. So I've got a bunch of screenshots from the opening, because the opening shows a lot of very interesting visuals, some of it very obvious, some of it a bit more subtle. Let's start with the bit that everyone seems to be aware of already, and that's the part in the opening with Yu and Megumi crying at what appears to be some kind of fire. Now, I'm going to get this part done very quick and out of the way, because it's the part that Different Fight mentioned, and if Different Fight mentioned it, then you've probably heard of it too. And that's the... seems to me that the, amusement park that they hang out at has been attacked or something. We don't know what's happened. I've got some theories, and we'll go into those theories as the video progresses, but basically I'm thinking this is episode 12, right before the hiatus, and then after the hiatus we'll be kind of picking the pieces back up again and kind of trying to deal with the aftermath of whatever this is. And again, I kind of think I know what this is, so be sure to watch the rest of this video to find out what I think this is, because I do have, I think, a solid theory as to what I think's happening here. So yeah, again, this is a theory video. I don't know if I'm going to be correct, but hey, W Slasher was correct, so why can't I be, right? Okay, so let's get into some of the other visuals for this opening. So basically, before we get into the actual dissecting stuff, we got to talk about the theme of the series, not the song, the actual theme. This is going to sound very obvious and condescending, but I need to explain it anyway. When you write a show, it needs to be about a thing. Yes, seriously, and you need to have some kind of message or story you want to tell. And with the inclusion of Blackout and the stuff with Yu cross-dressing, it seems that the theme of this series is about identity and finding yourself. These characters seem to have escaped from the problems in their own life and are banding together to kind of find out who they really are. So these characters, I feel like, just like you have had their own problems in the past that they've tried to run away from, and in the process of doing so have found themselves at Blackout. I saw some people question why the Yu cross-dressing plotline was here in the episode. I saw someone specifically, I would name him, but I don't want to call him out or anything, say that you could still have had the first episode be pretty much identical and have the same things happening even if you didn't include the Yu cross-dressing stuff, and I disagree. I think in terms of the theme of the series and what it's about, you couldn't have that storyline without Yu dealing with identity issues. The cross-dressing is literally a visual metaphor for how Yu doesn't know who he is, and I think it's excellent storytelling. But I also think that's what's happened to all these other characters too. I think they've also had pretty rough pasts and have found themselves coming together at Blackout to play a card game. And that's the real reason I really like this anime so far. So this first one seems to be Seto. Basically, this is a montage of very quick images that show immediately before the chorus of the opening theme, I believe. And it was a pain in the butt to screenshot these. I think they appear for literally one frame each. It's very, very quick. And they all seem to represent a different of the main characters. So this is Seto, I think we can all agree on that, and this seems to be a funeral. She seems to be crying at someone's funeral kind of grave. You've got some flowers, you got some sad looking people in suits. I do like the way they've done kind of background characters for this series, where they're very kind of undetailed and have nothing to them. They're just bold with no features. That's a really cool and interesting aesthetic to go with. That's very clamp of them. But yeah, this seems to be a funeral. I get the feeling because of the fact that she's working as a cop, right? The reason that she's doing so is because someone like above her, I guess, probably her parents have died. I get the feeling that she is trying to kind of look after her siblings or whatever because the person who looked after her has gone and, well, died. So I think dead parents, she took on the job of a police officer so that she can look after her family, but she's too young to, she doesn't really know what she's doing with that, and that's why she runs away and visits Blackout. That's what I get the feeling. And there's this other shot too that they show of her in the opening, and the way this is framed is like really beautiful because it shows you, it's very high up, it shows you her kind of above everyone else, she's kind of reaching up outwards. It's as if these people are looking up and admiring her as if she's better than them and that they really love her. But she's trying to kind of escape from that, you know? Like, her expression, she's smiling, but she also kind of looks pained, and the way she's reaching out, it's as if she's being, like, suffocated from them. I feel like she's being held on a pedestal, and she can't take it anymore. I may be reading too deep into this, but right? Like, that's what it seems like to me, and yeah, the funeral seems to fit with that. I feel like she's taking the weight of the world on her shoulders, and she can't bear it anymore, and that's why she plays stupid card games, because at least stupid card games don't have any of that, you know? We've got this one. I think this one is to do with Zakusa, because Zakusa is the one who wears the very kind of old-fashioned traditional Japanese clothing, and this is very old-fashioned traditional Japanese calligraphy here. In fact, the calligraphy is so stylized I can barely even figure out what characters it says on it, and because of that I don't know what it says. So you're not really gonna get much from me from this one. This one's one of the more cryptic ones. I don't really know what this one signifies. I would guess it's some kind of letter addressed to him that probably reveals something tragic, and whatever it reveals is the reason he joined Blackout. So I'm not gonna dwell on that one for too long, but I think there's something here. This one's the most obvious one because this is the one that is tackled in episode 1, so hopefully you've seen episode 1. And this one is showing Yu's struggle with his identity. Everyone else is in these groups of 3 people, they're together, they're talking, they're having fun. Yu's on his own, and he looks very vibrant and different. See, there's this trope in card game animes where like the protagonist is very kind of bright looking and stands out from all the other characters, and it seems like a kind of silly cliche, you know, it seems like kind of lazy character design, but here, it's used for a purpose. And once again, that's very clamp of them, and I love it. But yeah, I'm not going to dwell on this one for too long. Basically, it's showing how Yu feels like an outsider. He doesn't feel like he belongs. You get the deal. That's what his cross-dressing kind of represents. He doesn't even know who he is, you know? This one looks like Tohya to me. And he's kind of sitting at a desk. The desk is very empty. I theorize that could kind of symbolize like that he's not very well off in terms of money. Like this kind of desk would usually have some kind of computer or TV or something on it. It's very empty. That could just be like symbolizing his loneliness, but I think it's kind of symbolizing how he doesn't really have anything, you know? And as you see here in the bottom left of this image, we've got like this kind of door, right? And then like a shadow kind of coming out of it. So this makes me think that he's been abandoned by his own family. Like this shadow is representing his family, kind of turning their back on him, closing the door, leaving him in the darkness. And this is where this shot gets really, really clever. This spotlight represents him wanting to perform, right? If you remember in that first episode when he's fighting Danji, he's putting on a performance. They're kind of like role-playing. He's kind of like he was described as like a shadowy, like mysterious stranger, and he likes being a show-off. In fact, I think he criticized Danji for not showing off enough. This silhouette is representing who he wants to be, and the darkness is representing where he is. Feel free to, in the comments of this video, call me out for being a massive nerd who looks into this kind of thing too much, but I think it's really fascinating. This part is one of the more interesting parts. This is Megumi, as we know. And obviously there's a person here, there's another person here, and I only just noticed that. I didn't realize there was someone there. There's like another suit here. But yeah, Megumi has like this sort of like hairpin. And if you remember, in the actual episode, she has a different hairpin. In the actual episode, it's like this red triangle, whereas here it's like a white feather. And then, yeah, we have a character here turning his back on her. I think, right? I have no clue what this other person in the suit off frame is. I think this guy here turning his back to Megumi is an abusive boyfriend. Now, at first I thought this was a relative, right? But we've already done the relative thing with Tohya, and that would seem a bit repetitive. So I think this is an abusive boyfriend. And there's another reason for that. So bear that in mind. Obviously, I could be wrong, but we'll get to why I think that in a second, right? So just remember this, we'll come back to it. So here we've got Masanori Iseki, and I definitely didn't write that down and just read it so that I could remember what his name was because I'm bad at remembering it. I think this guy's Shion. I think this is like the most obvious, like simple sort of one. I obviously still want to know what the deal with him is. But basically, I get the feeling that he has a lot of expectations put on him by his family. So it's kind of like the opposite of Tohya, right? Where he's part of some kind of rich family or company or something, represented by all the suits. The suits are also representing like the suits are very dark and black and kind of shoving him into the corner of the screen here, which feels very claustrophobic, which visually represents how like kind of suffocated he is by that. I feel like he has a lot of expectations to live up to, and he doesn't care. I mean, if you look at his face here, he really doesn't care, and he'd rather, well, run off and play card games instead. So I think it's very Shion, basically. I think he's a Shion-esque character. Not much else to really go into there. I just really like the framing of this. I love that they used like the shoulder of a suit here to like represent like the kind of darkness closing in on him. Makes him feel very claustrophobic, and I like that imagery a lot. This is where things get super interesting. This is the final one of these images, and all of the images so far have represented a different main character of our cast. Which main character is missing? Danji. This has to be the Danji one, right? So I'm getting the feeling this one on the left is Danji as a small child holding some kind of charm. And then this one on the right, I think I know who this is, but as I mentioned, we'll get to this in a sec. I think Danji's lost someone I mean, it's not exactly subtle imagery, but you see it's a charm. It's kind of broken in half with a puzzle piece sort of thing here. I think this is kind of representing that he's drifted away from someone, right? This person here is very important to him. He's so important that they have matching charms, right? But also, well, we never see this person, we assume anyway, in the first episode. They're never mentioned, Danji's never shown with them, unless it is someone we know, but I don't think it is. I think I know who it is. And again, this kind of represents that they're disconnected, right? Like, it's an unfinished puzzle. It's very on the nose and overt, but I quite like it. I think it's very cool, right? So I think Danji's lost someone. Not in the same way that Seto's lost someone, where it's someone that died. I think they have literally, like, again, you see the puzzle piece, right? I think they drifted apart over the years. I think this is a friendship Danji had that went very sour, right? This is someone that meant somewhat a lot to Danji, but then they kind of separated and went their separate ways. And I think this is the reason Danji is overprotective. Remember, in the first episode, Megumi mentions that he's very overprotective of her, and he is like one of the people in charge of Blackout. And the reason for that, like, he's always the one to look after, he's the one who's very accepting of Yu. I think that the reason he's done that is because of this friendship, basically. This friendship went really sour, and because of that, he's very overprotective of people, and because of that, he either founded or became a leader of Blackout, right? So that's my theory there. I think something happened in his past to give him some baggage now. And again, I think I know who this person is, so you're going to have to kind of stick around to see what my theory is there. We'll get back to that one later. We'll get back to that one whenever. Actually, I didn't really have a reason for including this one. This one, however, is coming back to my Megumi theory. So this is very clearly the white, like feather hair clip from earlier, and it's broken this time with a set of glasses. This is not Masanori Iseki's glasses. I checked. Iseki's glasses are like the bald guy. His glasses are a lot more circular. These are a bit more like traditionally shaped, I guess, but they're broken. I think this is the abusive relationship. The clip is Megumi. The glasses are the abusive boyfriend. Basically, I'm thinking one day they got in a fight. This happened, right? And she left him, and that's how she found Blackout. And that theory is solidified when we see this, because it cuts from this to this. And this is her like putting on a hat. So putting on a new outfit, she's got the new hairpin now. This is representing her moving on from that relationship. She looks very kind of melancholic and sad. It's like she's trying to smile, but she can't. Her eyes look a bit glazed. It looks like she's been crying. I don't know, maybe I'm reading too into it there, but it feels like this is the abusive relationship. This is her moving on and becoming a member of Blackout. I think that's the case, right? And then that's the image we already went to. This image, again, I don't necessarily think it means much. I just think it looks cool. And this is going to be where I talk about a lot. So basically, I think the story of at least the first 12 episodes of Cardfight Vanguard overdress are going to be the story of Yu getting into Cardfight Vanguard, right? He's going to learn how to play the game, and he's going to play it with the various members of Blackout. As he does, he's probably going to learn more about these people. Basically, as he card fights the various characters of Vanguard overdress, he's going to learn more about these characters and become friends with them. And it's going to be kind of like a metaphor for how, like, this hobby brings people together and everything, right? Like, they have identity issues and they ran away, and so who are they? What is their identity? Card fighters. Their identity is card fighters. They're just a group of friends who card fight each other. And if that's the case, I really love that. That's so good. So I hope it ends up being true. Who knows, though? Again, I'm very willing to admit I could be wrong, but I also think that this is going to turn sour. I think that initially Danji's going to be very warm and inviting, just like he was in the first episode. But when Yu gets around to card fighting Danji and trying to pry into his past, just wait, you know, oh, what's this image? I don't know what this image means. I think that, yes, Yu is going to card fight Danji, and some stuff's gonna happen. I think Danji's gonna be a lot more overprotective and defensive about his past, and that's gonna turn pretty sour. I'm not saying that Danji is gonna be the villain or antagonist of the series, not by a long shot. I think the series is gonna be about how, despite Danji being kind of a broken and incomplete person, he is still a good person that still deserves to live and deserves to exist. I think the villain or antagonist of this series is gonna be this person. I think this person's gonna come back, and whatever reason it is that Danji and this character have disconnected over the years is going to be the reason they come back, and it's gonna be the reason this happens. And who do I think it is? Oh, we already know. Who's the character in Cardfight Vanguard overdress we already know exists but don't know anything about? This line from the official wiki: Mirei Minae is a character in Cardfight Vanguard overdress. She is currently kept secret. Danji used to be friends with Mirei Minae. They broke up or separated or something bad happened between them. Yu tried to find out what that was, and Mirei Minae came back, and this happened. I think that is the plot of Cardfight Vanguard overdress Season 1. I am pretty confident on that. Now, of course, I could be wrong, but I'm feeling pretty confident about that. So let's get into a couple of images. Later in the opening, we get a couple of other images that kind of cut between each other. These ones I'm a bit more unsure about, but we'll see. So, okay, we've got some hands holding Trickstar. It's Yu, right? It's got the nail polish on, which is Yu still in his cross-chest uniform. And he's receiving. Now, I think he's receiving. He's not just holding it, he's being given it. Because, and it's going to sound a little weird, but in Japanese culture, when you receive a business card, you have to hold it in a certain way. You have to do like a little bow and then grab it with two hands in the exact same way that Yu is holding this card, right? So someone's giving it to him, which very much echoes and references the Ichikai thing, right? I think it's probably Danji, right? I think it's Danji, and I think this card used to belong to Mirei because it's already sleeved. If this was a card that Yu just happened upon, it wouldn't already be sleeved. If Danji, let's just say Danji's the one that's giving it to him, it could be Megumi, of course. Those are my two theories. It's either Megumi or Danji. I think that well, the person who gave him this, it must mean a lot to them, right? Because it's sleeved. But it's also like, isn't it a common, right? Like, trickstar is just a common. Why would someone sleeve a common? Because it's either already part of a deck or it has sentimental value. Why would Danji have sentimental value over a common trading card? I have no idea. I can't think of it. I don't know. Lost there. Don't know what that means. And we also have this image of a shrine. I genuinely don't know what this one means. I'm just assuming some kind of important moment throughout the series happens at this like Buddhist shrine. I don't know. I don't even know why I bothered screenshotting that one, because I don't know. But those are my theories and speculation as to Cardfight Vanguard overdress Season 1, just from screenshots of the opening theme and the events of the first episode. I feel like I'm pretty correct though, right? Like, maybe you guys disagree with me, and if you do, feel free to kind of write out what your theories are and what you think these images represent, or just call me a nerd because you're an idiot. They don't represent anything. This is a stupid card game advert. Why would it mean things? Which is an argument I legitimately expect someone to come up with. But yeah, that's what I think. I think this is a series about broken people with very bad pasts who run away and try to find out who they really are via the means of playing Cardfight Vanguard. One other thing I'll mention too is, so this series is about identity, and because of that they show a lot of shots in the opening of characters' eyes close up. And I also think, I kind of hope I'm wrong about this one, but I need to mention it for the sake of it. This opening begins here and ends with a shot of a character's eye. And what historically in the Cardfight Vanguard anime has it meant when we've zoomed in on a character's eye like this? Now again, I think the real reason this is here is because it represents the identity theme that I was talking about. It's a series about people finding themselves, and so zoom in on the eye, right? But I have to mention it anyway. What has it meant in the past in the Cardfight Vanguard anime when we've zoomed in on a character's eye like this? It's meant Psyqualia. I think they're probably bringing Psyqualia back. Do I hope they bring Psyqualia back? Not really. I'm up for it if that's what they decide to do, but I'm not exactly excited for that myself. It's not the decision I would have went with, but also, if they do decide to bring it back, and again, I could be wrong here, right? But if they do decide to bring it back, I would like to see how it's changed. 3,000 years on planet Krei is a long time. Psyqualia might be different now, and they might do different stuff with it. So I hope that if they are bringing Psyqualia back, they do something different with it. Historically, I've never really been a big fan of Psyqualia. I don't think it's a very great idea. You know, I don't really like Psyqualia, but if they are going to bring it back, I hope they at least do something interesting with it. And with that many shots in the opening, just zoomed in on characters' eyes like that, it feels a little on the nose to me. Or maybe it's intentionally misleading, right? Maybe it's they're getting us to think that something's happening with Psyqualia, and then nothing really does. In that case, I'd be very happy with that, but again, who knows? But those are my theories on Cardfight Vanguard overdress, just based on the opening and the first episode. Remember, for every statement, there's an asterisk, and be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to share your theories in the comments below and what points you disagree with or agree with me on. And subscribe to see more Vanguard overdress videos in the future. I will see you later. See ya.